In May 1995, the Dabagar people of the Wiradjuri Nation lodged their native title claim over the Terramungamine Reserve near Dubbo in central New South Wales. Located on the banks of the Macquarie River, the area includes a traditional burial ground and ancient grinding grooves for sharpening tools. These sites are culturally significant to the Dabagar people. Terramungamine is also used as a public recreation area and a reserve for travelling stock.
At the first meeting that I attended, the parties were pretty clear about the positions that they needed to protect.
At the very first meeting, though, it seemed to me, and I may be misreading it, but it seemed to me that there was a lot of scepticism and doubt in their minds about where we were coming from. Once they realised that we were who we said we were, and our motivation was for cultural preservation purposes, then it made the whole process a little bit easier.
I wasn't too worried about it. I knew that we could work it out with the Dabagar people.
We were fairly open-minded about it, and me personally, I thought that through the process I could probably learn a fair bit about the local Aboriginal culture. So, yeah, we kept fairly open-minded about things.
Well, the main issues were that the Dubbo City Council had an area that they had been trustees for some years, which provided for public recreation area. The Rural Lands Protection Board similarly had an area that they used for travelling stock. And the Dabagar people had particular interests, particularly along the riverbank, that they believed are important cultural relics and needed to be protected. So each of the groups around the table actually had quite specific interests.
Well, first, the biggest priority for me was the preservation of the cultural heritage value of the area, including the grinding grooves and the open campsites that have been recorded on the reserve, and obviously the dedication of the Aboriginal burial ground was the number one priority.
I mean, our primary purpose was to ensure that the public recreation reserve remained available for public recreation, and at the same time that we could understand and protect the Aboriginal cultural heritage values of the site as well.
When I took it over, some of the initial scepticism and difficulty in communication and perceptions had been diluted. That doesn't mean to say that at times through the process, each of the groups didn't have some difficulty with a position that someone else was putting.
It's gone very well. Everybody's been very happy and all talk to one another. As I said before, there haven't been any arguments. We just talk it out.
As Will said this morning, if you approach it in a cooperative sense and a sense of exploration, and be prepared to move through a process, it's not in the least bit threatening, and you can get some good outcomes.
The mediation process is valuable because it's produced here an outcome that's accepted and owned by all the stakeholders. It's valuable also because it provides an illustration and a model for other cases around Australia where people might be looking to these kinds of problems and might learn from this the benefits and the effectiveness of going a negotiation route rather than through litigation.
I think we all have learnt from what's happened here. It's the whole process has been one of learning, one of sharing, and I think that's probably what's brought it to such a successful conclusion.
Like, we were always prepared, if we needed to, for litigation. If it went to court, we were prepared to go to court. We would have taken it to the end of the road. We preferred to take the conciliatory approach, and if people weren't willing to take that road with us, then we would have ended up in litigation.
On the 6th of December 2002, an agreement was signed between the Dabagar people, Dubbo Rural Lands Protection Board, Dubbo City Council and the New South Wales Government. As part of the agreement, the Dabagar people withdrew their native title application over the Terramungamine Reserve after the signing.
The final resolution will have 3 areas. There will be a dedicated Aboriginal burial ground. There'll be a public recreation area which will be administered and managed by the Dubbo City Council. And there is also now a reduced area for a holding yard which the Royal Lands Protection Board will manage. But the whole area will be managed in an appropriate way as a multi-use area.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a very satisfactory result. We've still got our yard here. We've got to maintain it in good order.
I couldn't be happier. I think it's turned out very well. It's taken a long time to get to this, but I think the outcome is outstanding, and I think it's possibly an example to the rest of New South Wales.
All stakeholders had to make some concessions for this to be able to work, and with keeping that in mind, I can live with the concessions that we had to make to get the agreement signed off in the finish. So, yeah, basically I'm happy with it. We couldn't have done any better, I believe, without infringing on the rights of other stakeholders and other land users in the area.
The outcome is one that's endorsed and accepted by all the parties, having been carefully negotiated through by those parties, and so it's an outcome that they own and believe in.
I think each of the parties recognise that they have got a very acceptable outcome. One of the parties said at the ceremony, nobody got everything, but nobody lost everything. We had to give and take a little bit. And I think if parties walk away from a process saying that, my job as a mediator has been very well done.
In the long term, I would hope that we can build on this. We can build on the physical things on the reserves. We can build on the activities together with the Wirrambah people, and I think the whole of Dubbo can be culturally richer as time goes by and we learn from each other.
I mean, I think that we can look at the very narrow aspects of this agreement, or we can look at all of the institution building that's gone on through the process. And I'd like to think that the major benefit is that the Tubbergar people are now recognised by the community as being very real players in community affairs. The Mayor of the city stood up today at the signing ceremony and recognised them as the traditional owners of this area. That's not an insignificant statement from the Mayor of the city. And I just think that they'll move from strength to strength.
I think we've laid the foundations, we've put in the hard yards, we've networked, I suppose. We know so many different people from different interest groups and backgrounds, and we're all people anyway, whether we're Aboriginal or non-Aboriginal. We all live locally, so we see the same rain, we feel the same rain, we see the same sun, we feel the same breeze. So if we can get together, those other differences become minuscule and almost, by the way.
I wish to acknowledge the people of the Wiradjuri Nation, traditional owners of this land.
To me, it's something that we need to hold up and highlight.
But now we have an agreement that benefits all involved.
This is a proud day, not only for the local Aboriginal community, but also for the broader community.
And I think more importantly, enables the whole community to appreciate, learn about and increase our respect for the times gone by.
We can all win in the end if we just take that attitude and act in good faith. The best thing is the recognition. I think the Mayor said it in his opening statement. I'd like to recognise the Wiradjuri Tubbergar as the traditional owners of this area. That is a big thing for our elders here, because it's a recognition that they've been starved for generations. This whole area is where there's the traditional grounds of my grandmother's people, and we've always had a strong attachment to it, always visited it, always spoken about it when we're out of country. From the oral histories that I've gathered, sitting listening to old people talking, as far as we're concerned, we've never been anywhere else. This is where we've always been.
The National Native Title Tribunal is a Commonwealth Government body set up under the Native Title Act 1993. We work with people around Australia to develop an understanding of native title and to assist communities to reach enduring outcomes. For more information, visit our website www.nntt.gov.au or free call 1800 640 501.